19 and graduating in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but we were living, he was a baby, we were living in, that must have been 19 years ago, a tiny town in Japan called Kasagi, Japan, in the prefecture of Kyoto. I worked in Kyoto and as a teacher at a university, teaching Christianity, and I was getting paid for it in a liberal university. And they didn't care. They were so liberal, they didn't care what you taught. I could have been teaching Jehovah's Witnesses, and I still would have got paid, you know. And anyway, we were the only Christians that we could find in our village. You know, the only. And, you know, we would try to speak to people about the Lord. Not easy, it wasn't very easy. But I did meet the only other person from the neighboring village, which also had no Christians, by our definition, came to our door and heard that we were there, and they knocked, and I had no idea that these might be Jehovah's Witnesses, but they turned out to be, and they came. And just imagine yourself where everyone around you is Buddhist or Muslim, you know, if you're in a different country. This is Buddhist, or I would say most Japanese are actually atheists. Actually, Buddhists are atheists, but you know, Buddhists or Shinto or just no religion, you know. And someone comes to your door, and you have so much in common with them. You believe in Jehovah God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you know. You believe in that there was a person named Jesus. Not quite sure who he was, maybe, but you believe there was such an entity as Jesus. You believe in so many things. And this person in front of you has come to some of these beliefs that you hold so dear, in spite of everyone around him being Buddhist and Shinto. Wouldn't you have a warm feeling toward that person? And we indeed did. And he also toward us, you know, someone that understands some of my language, you know. And we shared with him for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And a lot of it was friendship, you know, and we developed a friendship with this guy. He worked in Kyoto in a factory. I think he was a lead man or a foreman or something in the factory. And what I'm going to share with you today, I finally did after a while of listening to him, and that's what I recommend, by the way, is when people come to your door, you know, you're actually, in a way, they're coming to your door, but in a spiritual sense, you're their guest. They're the one that's taking the effort to evangelize, quote unquote. They're the ones, you know what I'm saying? So I think they deserve a hearing before we blast them with everything we know, you know? So I just generally try to listen for a long time and earn the right to say something. And I earned the right with this guy. He came to my house many times and sat in my living room, and my wife, you know, it was all in Japanese though. And my wife was, you know, only catching little snippets of it because she doesn't speak as much Japanese. So I shared with him what I'm about to share with you. And then a few weeks went by. I could see it really made an impact on him. He goes, oh my, sort of like that, you know, oh my, I'm going to have to ask, you know, the elder of my kingdom all about this. I don't know. And I said, well, as soon as you do that, you know, you'll lose it. You're going to have to do it on your own. You're going to have to figure it out on your own. Don't go ask the elder until you figure it out on your own. Of course, that's where the problem sets in. The organization versus me, you know. So a few weeks went by and he never came by again. And I thought, wow, I wonder what happened. Probably he talked to the elder and the elder told him never go back there again. You know, that was what my mind was thinking. But we'd become friends, you know. And I thought, nah, he wouldn't just blow me off like that. No way. We're the only people that name the name of Christ in this whole region, you know. Well, a few weeks went by, and then a different person came to my door. And it was his mother. And she came in and we talked. And she said, oh, I just wanted to tell you that I want to apologize for my son not coming. What happened was, a month ago, at his job, a crane fell on him and he died. But before he died, he told me how much it meant to him that he had come to your house. So I had to come and tell you how much it meant to him that he came. You know, to this day, I don't know what happened spiritually, you know. I hope something happened spiritually. But I found that what I'm about to share with you is effective if you've earned the right to speak. That's the main problem with Jehovah's Witnesses. Most Christians don't earn the right to speak to them, you know. You have to earn the right to speak. So go to page 1. Why be concerned with Jehovah's Witnesses at all? Why not ignore them? A lot of people just prefer to ignore them. And I think in 90% of the cases, they should ignore them because they're not qualified to speak to them. They don't know what they're talking about. I'm talking about Christians, you know. And it's better if you don't know, just ignore them. And just be polite and say, thank you very much. I already have a church. Those people will walk away from you thinking you're a complete idiot like everyone else in the world. They're all going to be lost. You know, their concept is all of us are apostate. We're in a system, you know, that come ye out from among them and be ye separate. And they have come out and we haven't. That's the concept. They lump Catholics and Lutherans and liberal Lutherans and evangelical Lutherans all in the same boat, and we're all apostate. And that's what they'll think of you as they walk away. But maybe that's the best, rather than, you know, confusing the matter even more and getting yourself confused. But after today, you won't be confused, I promise. You'll know how to deal with the situation in your own mind. But the thing is, it's not just victimizers that we're dealing with. You know, when you're dealing with cults, it's not just people that are dyed in the wool and not going to listen to anything. There's a lot of those, right? That it's so invested in the system that they don't care about the truth. You know, like Harold Camping. For example, you know, we're all like Harold Camping's ringing in our ears for some of us, right? You cannot talk that guy out of this craziness, right? He's so invested in it. But some of the people listening to 94.7 driving up from New York City on the way home because there's nothing else to listen to are getting confused. Weren't they listening to Harold Camping? A lot of people would think, maybe he is right. Maybe we're supposed to come out of these. Very similar to J.W.'s, by the way. Harold Camping, in a lot of ways. You know, come ye out from them and all that stuff. The Lord's coming tomorrow, that kind of thing. Well, the thing is, like I say, there are victims and there's victimizers. And there's a lot of victims. And some of the victims are our own people. If you gave them 10 minutes, the average person in a church, 10 minutes with a Jehovah's Witness, they would be so confused. They wouldn't know which way was coming, you know, or going. And that's what I found with people that are close to me. You know, I'll give you an example though. Before you go into my presentation, if you just do me a favor of catching a slight flavor of Jehovah's Witness speak. I have a dictionary that's this thick of Jehovah's Witness speak, written by a guy named Franz. He was one of the anointed class, one of the leaders in Brooklyn. And he produced a dictionary of Jehovah's Witness speak. In other words, when they say this word, it means this. When they say this word, it means this. It's so amazing, you know. But if you look at the back of this presentation, I just did 2 pages of Jehovah's Witness speak, and you'll see how confusing it is. And you'll see one of the most essential teachings in there, hidden in between the lines. See where the page that says saints? And then underneath that, it has a subheading, does the Bible teach that a person must have attained to heavenly glory before he is recognized as a saint? They're attacking the Catholic Church right here. You know, the Catholic Church teaches that you become what? You know, they're going through it with Mother or whatever, Teresa, different people, making them a saint, right? And so Jehovah's Witnesses will often think that all Christians are doing this kind of thing, and that they're the only ones teaching people that that's not the way you become a saint. But listen to the way they think you become a saint. It's really amazing. So underneath there it says, the Bible definitely does refer to holy ones or saints that are in heaven. Now here's the interesting part. Drop down to Acts 9, 32, 36 through 31. Peter visited the place after another, and it eventually came to the saints, hagioi. All this is Jehovah's Witness translation, but not too bad. living down in Lydda and Jaffa, there was a woman disciple named Tabitha. Peter turned to the dead woman and said, "Tabitha, stand up." She opened her eyes, looked at Peter, and sat up. Peter helped her to her feet. Then he called in the saints. Notice the word saints? This is the key. And widows, and showed them she was alive. Parenthesis. Here comes Jehovah's Witness speak. Clearly, these saints were not yet in heaven, nor was just an outstanding individual such as Peter viewed as a saint. Now, they're making the point that the Catholics are wrong, that people on earth are saints, right? So far, we're with them? Are you with me so far? All right. Now go to the next paragraph. 2 Corinthians 1, 13, 12. From Paul, appointed by God to be the apostle of Christ Jesus, and from Timothy, one of the brothers, to the church of God at Corinth, and to all the saints in the whole of Achaia. Greet one another with a holy kiss. All the saints send greetings. Now, when we read that, we get the feeling that all Christians are saints. Isn't that what you do? Right? All Christians are saints. Not to Jehovah's Witness speak. Look at the next. All these early Christians who were cleansed by the blood of Christ and set apart for God's service as prospective joint heirs with Christ were referred to as saints or holy ones. Recognition of their being saints was obviously not deferred until after they had died. Now back to the anti-Catholic little line at the end. What they're saying is, only in the early church was everyone a saint. Did you get that in between the line? In these early days, everyone was a saint. That's not true anymore. Turn the page and I'll show you. Turn the page and it says, is the heavenly life set out in the New Testament as the hope for all Christians? Saints go to heaven, right? In our mind. Is heaven for everybody? And no. Not according to them. Let's jot down because of time. At the bottom of that section, Romans 8:14. All who are led by God's Spirit, these are God's sons. The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are God's children. If then we are children, we are also heirs, heirs indeed of God, but joint heirs with Christ, provided we suffer together, that we may be glorified together. The language is a little off, right? It sounds like a slightly different translation, but we recognize it as fairly similar. All right, now look at this. At the time this was written, it was true that all who were led by God's Spirit were God's sons, whose hope was that they would be glorified with Christ. But this had not always been true. And then he goes on to talk about John the Baptist and totally messes that up. They teach, as is very clear here, that no longer does everyone go to heaven. Why? And it's a long developed thing that I don't have time to do. You're going to have to take my word for it. Only 144,000 people get to go to heaven. And this relates to their system. It's it's their Achilles heel. It's the thing that has boxed them into a corner and that's killing them right now. They have said so many times that only 144,000 people are saints and go to heaven, that the number is killing them. And I'll show you how badly it killed them if you follow me. Now go back to this outline. We were on page 1 where I said why be concerned with them. I don't want to go with that anymore. But go to the little balances thing on the next page where I have a balance. Notice at the top I write, J.W. distinctive teachings are many, but are not the primary issue. This is so important, I cannot tell you. People focus on, they don't believe in this, they don't believe in this, they don't believe in this, it's endless.